Jamal Niaz here with the legend herself, Natasha Jonas. Now, must be a bit emotional for you this week because Joe has described this as potentially your last fight in Liverpool, which I don't want it to be your last fight in Liverpool because even though people are saying you're in the twilight of your career, you're just excelling every year, looking to add another world title to the collection this weekend. How are you feeling? Is it emotional? Do you feel you need to put on an incredible show for the fans, especially this time around?
I always want to put on a show, but that's more for the standards that I've got for myself and I set for myself, not to please anybody. You know, some fights you can box terrible and win, and some fights you can box amazing and lose. So how you box is irrelevant to the result. I just want to do myself justice, do Joe justice, and all the work that we do.
100%. And do you feel more in particular for this fight because you've been out of action for so long, you're itching to get in there and just really put a stamp on this year heading into a massive 2025 for yourself, because there's so many super fights for you on the table next year, aren't there?
Yeah, I just think just to get momentum back is the biggest thing. To be out the ring for nearly 11 months is just far too long. Yeah, I think an act with Natasha, I've always said it, is a dangerous one, and we've seen that in 2022. You know, fighting every 4 or 5 months, you're seeing the results, boxer of the year, and I had that momentum going, and then 2023 came, I boxed once, 2022 came, I've boxed once, and hopefully now we can get a bit of momentum before the last chapter.
Your opponent's been in there with some world-class operators, Clarissa Shields, Terry Harper, lost those fights. How much weakness did you see in a game from those fights that you'll be looking to exploit, and what do you make of her as a fighter?
I think she's a good fighter. All her fundamentals are good. She's got a good jab, good footwork. I just think I'm better in every department. And like you say, she's got a good boxing IQ. She's been at world level for a very long time. I think it's a slightly different fight now because she's a champion herself. And when you've got that title, you don't want to give it up for no one, and you'll do anything to keep it. So I'm expecting, 10 hard rounds.
And Lauren Price is on the card as well. We can see just there on that image. Must be an interesting experience. I know the press conference actually hasn't happened yet, but being around Lauren this week, I've heard that you are contracted to fight after this one. What's it like being around someone that you know she wants what you've got? She wants that amazing career and legacy that you built for yourself.
No different to being on the amateurs and training alongside Chantal Cameron and Ruth Raper and Amanda Coulson, and they're all wanting your spot, so there's no difference. I think Lauren was one of them as well. So friendships are friendships until they're not, and when we're fighting and it's fight night, we're not.
And she's made it clear, ideally for her, she would have liked to have fought you this weekend. What have you made of? There's no beef whatsoever, but there's definitely a bit of tension. There's going to be a bit of tension when two people want to fight each other. What do you make of her as a fighter and as a person?
As a person, as a fighter, she's a good fighter. And accolades say that she's a good fighter. A person, she's a nice person. We've never had an issue. I think some of the comments that she's made have been, I was out chasing what I believe are bigger fights for me. Michaela Mayer for me is a bigger fight than Lauren Price. Katie Taylor for me is a bigger fight than Lauren Price. The only people that don't think that is Lauren Price and Ben. So here we are.
And how do you see that fight playing out? Do you feel like you could get the finish in that fight if it were to materialise next?
The Price fight? Yeah. Listen, I'd never put predictions of knocking people out. If them opportunities appear, of course you're going to try and take them. But she's an Olympic champion. She's a world champion now, and it'll be a tough fight.
I know you don't like to put predictions out of knocking people out, but Joe is like your biggest fan. Of course he's your biggest fan, and he's said a lot of stuff over the years that has come true, and he said obviously it's no secret you want that Katie Taylor fight again. Huge fight. It'd be an incredible last dance for you both if it was to happen at some point. And he said he believes if you were to fight again that you would knock Katie Taylor out. Now, I'm not going to ask what you think because I know you don't want to offer predictions, but do you think there's serious weight in what he's saying?
Listen, I actually, for the first time, watched that Katie Taylor fight back, the one in lockdown, and there's so much good stuff that I did. I mean, whether a knockout's coming is debatable, but I think it's a different fight now.
You know, she's had, since that fight, she's had some absolute wars when you look at the Chantel Cameron fights, Amanda Serrano that's just happened as well. Like, what do you make of her as a fighter now compared to when you last fought over lockdown?
I think you can never, you're never going to underestimate Katie, because even when you think, oh, you know, the Chantel Cameron first fight, oh, she's done, and then she came back and won it convincingly in the second. So it's like you can't, and I'm the same. I know when people doubt me, that it puts an extra bit of motivation. You get a bit of grit between your teeth and think, I'll show them. And every time it's asked of her, she pulls it out the bag. You know, I thought Amanda Serrano would. I mean, it was a close fight, and anytime you fight anyone, elite female, it's always going to be close. Whether that's me, Sandy, Lauren, Michaela Mayer, Katie, Chantel, any of us fight, it's going to be close because we're all elite. We're all elite fighters.
Final one for me. How would you describe that relationship between you and Katie? Because you're both very humble, incredible fighters, fiercely competitive as well. How would you describe the way you look at each other as competitors?
I think just respect. You know, we let our fists do the talking in the ring. We don't have to talk bad about no one. It's mutual respect.
Perfect. Best of luck Saturday night. Appreciate your time. Thank you.